hear that shit.
Can I say something?
What I want is a woman who makes me look good. No woman who's running around talking about sucking dick can make me look good. So I lose interest completely and utterly, and that's the truth. So what she's saying is completely correct. These are old school things, but it's not about the act. Yes, you can order food, of course. It's about the status that comes with it. That's what it's about.
Sagittarius, spoken like a true one. That is true.
My man's
Sagittarius. Listen, well,
my man's a Sagittarius.
So basically, it's a straight shooting sort of conversation. But I think that sometimes we get distracted and we talk about the bicker of between men and women. I think that the problem that men and women have is the consequences of the bad decisions that the 1% of powerful men make on our behalf, because our problems are on a societal level less than between woman and man. That is why there's a lot of competition between men, this chase for status that they will never get.
Why is that the fault of the 1% of men?
Because they're the ones that drive the machine that runs this. The West
it's always been that way.
Yeah, so but then think about the men that are at the top now.
What'd you say?
I said she's so right.
About?
That 1% is affecting literally everybody. What we see, literally just what we see anytime we go on the internet is determined by these people and what they want us to think, what they want us to feel, how they want us to act. Everybody's literally been brainwashed through
but it's
all this shit.
So you saying that this is a bad thing, or do you think this is a good thing?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of shit on the internet.
That's what I'm saying.
There's a lot of shit.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I think the internet itself, being able to reach out to people, being able to see stuff going on the other side of the world, I think that is all great. But I think social media in itself has become way too toxic, way too manipulated by that 1%, and especially in America, if I'm gonna be honest. Like,
what do you mean, real quick?
Man,
explain.
Just all this stuff, all the TikTok, Instagram.
But what okay, I get that part. But I'm saying, what about those things that makes it toxic that you were just talking about? Because from my perspective, it's a tool, right? You can create a gun, but a gun is not made to fucking go around robbing people. It's how you use the gun. You can go around saving people. You can go around, robbing people. You can go around doing whatever you want. It's a tool.
Understandable, but most people are not creators like you are. Most people are consumers. Most people, I'd say fucking 90% of people are consumers.
I would actually disagree, but I'm gonna go
maybe
ahead.
My statistic could be wrong, but I say majority of people are consumers.
That's what I'm saying. I actually disagree with you. I think it's the majority of people are trying to be creators. They're just not successful at it. If you go through most people TikToks, they making hella videos. They probably just not getting no recognition. All the girls are doing these thirst traps. All the guys are doing these silly ass dances or making funny videos. Everybody's actually trying, especially here in America. Maybe in other places, not so much. But here in America, everyone is trying to be that person. But that's why I'm just saying I disagree. But I don't want to get off topic. Continue.
No, I get that. I can see how that people are trying, but most of them don't really get anywhere just because of the algorithm and shit. But I do still think that most people are consumers, and because of that 1% is affecting everything that these people are seeing and all that shit. And I just think that's kind of fucked up.
But going back to my question, I was about to move on, but I have to stay on here for just a quick second. Sorry, fellas. Why? Why is that a bad thing if it's always been this way? Throughout history of time, there's always been kings, there's always been sultans, there's always been emperors, there's always been some hierarchy that's at the very, very top echelon and then literally goes down to the old peasants.
No,
and
I get
pawns,
that. I understand that, but everybody knew who the king was. Everybody knew who the sultan was. Everybody knows who the president is. We all vote for them, or we, support their royal lineage, whatever the fuck it is. But with these multi-billionaire men that are doing all this shit behind the scenes on some Illuminati shit, like, we don't know who the fuck they are. We don't know what they stand for. Gotcha. We don't know who they are. But they are affecting everything. Everything.
Okay. Well, the only thing I can see is what you're talking about, but I do disagree. When you said we don't see what they about, we clearly can see what they're about.
Well, yeah, we can see what they're about, but we can't see what they're actually about,
Debatable. Continue.
The corruption and everything that's going on. And this is why it feels very good to sit next to somebody like you and just say, do you know what? appreciate that you say things that are really true. You expose a very toxic truth and a very true truth as well that is out there. But the reality is, on the trenches, when you go to the grassroots, people don't feel the way that you feel. It's not as simple as what you say. They are victims of this system. So my job here is really not to try and make it about men and women, is to make you understand that actually we need to start changing the narrative.
You don't want to make it about men and women because
they're both messed up on either side.
Because then women look bad.
No, because it's about everybody together. Women have their traumas, men have their traumas. I'm not here to fight against men and women. That's small.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But the idea that this 1% of men have created this terrible society. Yeah, I talk about that. I talk about the Matrix. I talk about these things. But it's always been this way. It's always been a small elite group of men who are in charge of the world. And unfortunately now, we're fighting battles in different ways. The days of old, a man proved his worth by going to war. Basically, every man at any point in his life was going to end up going to war, and he came back victorious. He came back with honor. He got himself a wife. That's how it worked, right? Now men don't have to go to war as much, depending on where you live in the world, and it's slightly different. And we fight our wars in other ways. And one of the true expressions of testosterone and trying to really express your ability and your combative ability now in the modern world is power and influence. So in the olden days, you go to war, you come back with a ribbon. Nowadays, you got X amount of followers, you can move the world with money. I can bend reality with money. Please understand, if I walk into Jimmy Choo, they lock the door. No brokies allowed in. Tate's here. And I buy whatever the fuck I want. There's lines outside because I'm there. I bend the world with money. That's how the wars are now won. So you're talking about high status males, and it's always been that way. Now you have a whole contingent of men who aren't dead. Okay, they didn't die in a ditch, but they're lonely as fuck jerking off. And that's the reality of it. And women don't give a fuck about them. And why should you? I'm not sitting here actually shitting on women in any way. I think women have a biological instinct to a degree to try and find the best mate they can because it gives them the highest chance of survival in the harsh realities of the world. And if they look at a man who's not capable, they just don't feel an attraction to him. And that's the bottom line of it. And that's why I'm largely misunderstood. I don't blame women for a lot of the problems. Women are guilty of certain things, but I have a massive amount of blame to place on men because there's so many men who are genuinely incompetent. If I was a chick, I wouldn't fuck these losers either. Like, they're losers. So it's hard out
Balance. I love it.
Do you know what I don't understand? Why people are always going for the 1%? All the women want to rush for the 1%. Why don't you just find a regular 9-to-5 person that's going to look after you? You can be his queen. Why can't you just do that? Why is everybody really rushing? I've got a man. We don't go on social media. If it weren't for Pearl, I want nothing about social media. 9 to 5, I've got our own property, 32 years, happy as Larry. What is the problem? It's not old-fashioned. It works.
No, Auntie, let me clarify. When I meant 1% is not the 1% of attraction. I mean the actual people that are in charge of the things that run the world the way that it does.
What I'm trying to say is that it's always been an umbrella we've lived under.
But the difference
is... functioned underneath it. So why is it going to affect me?
I'll explain why. Because as Sir Mr. Andrew King Tate said...
I want to know what she's after.
I'll have this on after this point.
Yeah. Go home and dry that now.
I've been drinking lime juice as well. So, as he very rightly said, society has now evolved. Before men went to war...
That's what?
Look how many fucking limes are in her cup, bro. She wasn't
now
kidding.
Men don't go to war. So there's a lot of sense of no purpose that they need to find. And then on the women's side is that the same way that a society evolved and made men feel less purpose, they have now had to take on bigger purposes. They have to go to work like they didn't have to do before. They have to take care of the family and work
tearing up the
and
oranges.
all of these things, and now deal with the fact that men are feeling a little bit like out of, you know.
The rubbish. That ain't what I'm saying.
No.
You get a 9-to-5 person, right? What is wrong with you going out there, find a regular...
L-stream. And while I'm doing that, what is wrong with women not accepting regular 9-to-5 dudes that make $50K a year, regular average people?
I think that used to be normal. I literally just...
What do you, huh?
Like in the past, 1800s, 1900s, women were totally fine with a regular dude, white picket fence, house, kids.
Okay.
That was fine.
But I'm saying, what's wrong with that now?
Social media, literally. Women go on social media, they see all these women, all these dudes with all this money doing all this shit, and they're like, oh, if they're doing it, I can do it, so I want that.
Oh, okay, so you just gave me a curveball. So instead of they are doing it, I want that, is, okay, hold on. So is it more so they are doing it, I want that, and I'm going to make that myself? Or is that they're doing that, I want that, I want to be with that person? Versus this average dude?
I think it's both. They want to do that and they want to be that. But in the past, people didn't see all that shit. People just had their own lives. They didn't have the internet. They couldn't go see all these people doing all these things. You know, there were still people doing those things. It just wasn't available to the entire world.
Yeah.
And now that it is, that just feeds people's greed. They see it, so they want it.
AJ on replay spin. This is the first time in history I actually agree with your shit.
What?
What the fuck? Let's go. Hey, hold on. Bruh. If y'all don't come on.
Regular 9 to 5 person, right?
No, but real quick. I wholeheartedly agree with everything you just said. 100%. It's the masculinity in them. I mean, most women, it's the I want that too. I want to be able to have that for myself. And it's the regular average dudes I'm not attracted to no more because these dudes I can have access to because I can get flown out, I can get fucked by them, etc. So I agree wholeheartedly with what you just said.